In our fast-paced digital world, losing important files is a nightmare many face. But Dropbox's story began with this simple problem, eventually transforming into one of the most prominent success stories in the field of cloud storage. So, how did a simple idea change how we interact with our files? If we want to talk about Dropbox, we must mention the story of Drew Houston. Drew was born in 1983. His father was an electrical engineer trained at Harvard, and his mother was a librarian at a high school. His mother concluded that her son was obsessed with programming at the age of 5. At the age of 14, Houston signed up to be a beta tester for an online game and began discovering security loopholes. They quickly hired him as a network engineer in a company. He worked with startups throughout high school and college. Dropbox is his 6th company. In late 2006, Houston was on a bus ride between Boston and New York. As a recent graduate of MIT in computer science, he intended to use the 6-hour journey to work on some previous business ideas. But when he sat down, Houston realized he had forgotten the USB drive containing all his files. He recalls, "I was so frustrated because I felt like this kept happening," adding, "I didn't want to face this problem again, so since I had nothing else to do, I started writing some code to find a solution without knowing where it would lead." What Houston came up with was the idea for Dropbox, a remote storage solution that users could access online from wherever they were. Within 2 weeks, he had created a prototype and coined the name. 4 months later, he traveled to San Francisco, pitched his idea to Paul Graham, the startup accelerator Y Combinator. However, Graham insisted that he needed a co-founder before even considering his application. Houston had 2 weeks to find the right person. Friends suggested Arash Ferdowsi, the only son of an Iranian refugee who was studying computer science at MIT. They talked for 2 hours in Boston, and as Houston describes it, "We got married on the second date." Ferdowsi dropped out of school just 6 months before graduation. Dropbox received $15,000 from Y Combinator, enough to rent an apartment and buy a Mac. Houston and Ferdowsi spent the next year working through the night. Dropbox remained lean, allowing it to navigate the economic downturn safely. By 2008, it had 9 employees and 200,000 customers. Experimented with advertising, but the idea failed. It cost them $300 to acquire a single sign-up. The challenge was marketing a product to solve a problem people didn't realize they had and weren't searching for. So instead of advertising, they turned their small but loyal customer base into sales representatives by offering 250 megabytes of free storage for referrals. Over 2.5 years, they added only 5 employees. The number of users increased tenfold. With his foresight, Jobs saw that this startup represented a strategic asset for Apple. In December 2009, Jobs invited Houston and his partner Arash Ferdowsi to a meeting at his office in Cupertino. Houston interrupted Jobs' pitch, saying that he was determined to build a big company and wasn't interested in selling, regardless of the buyer's stature. At that moment, Jobs threatened to crush Dropbox. And as you know, coming from the future, Jobs didn't fulfill his promise. Houston realized that the next step to make Dropbox resilient was expansion. As mentioned earlier, a key aspect of Dropbox's growth strategy was its referral program, which used invitations as a mechanism for expansion. This system offered additional free storage to both the referrer and the referred, encouraging users to spread the word. This created a viral effect. This strategy not only accelerated the growth of their user base, but also fostered a sense of community among early adopters. The referral system was cost-effective, reducing the need for significant spending on traditional advertising and aligning perfectly with Dropbox's nature as a file-sharing tool. To strengthen its position, Dropbox acquired some startups, such as Snapjoy, in the cloud music field in December 2012. In March 2013, it bought the Mailbox app, which it later discontinued, and acquired Endorse in 2013. It also acquired Bubbly, a company specializing in 3D imaging technology. In 2011, it received the highest valuation in the billion-dollar club, potentially reaching a valuation of $1.5 billion. It also won the Crunchies Award for Best Overall Startup of 2011. Instead of focusing on the consumer, Dropbox was investing more resources in its projects to make its mobile apps and website a place to get work done, rather than just a simple destination for files. Dropbox grew from a startup into an integrated private company, generating significant annual revenues. Described as one of the fastest-growing companies, it surpassed the 100 million user mark by 2013. In 2018, Dropbox went public, surprisingly exceeding expectations, selling 36 million shares at $21 per share on the night of its IPO, with a 36% increase on the first day of trading. The key contributor to Dropbox's success was that it solved a very basic problem. It thoroughly understood its users and their needs. Many users around the world had already grown weary of carrying portable storage devices and wanted something that could solve their storage issues. This made it one of the leading companies in the field of cloud storage, providing its services to over 500 million users worldwide and generating billions of dollars in revenue annually. Dropbox addressed this issue head-on by making cloud storage a simple, secure, and hassle-free experience. As Drew Houston himself said, people do not choose Dropbox because it has this much space or gigabytes. They choose it for the experience.